Morning Tribe, 6:15 a.m. It is what, 24 May? Minute hands over the date window. So yeah, we'll go with that. 24 May, 25 May, something like that. It's Thursday morning. I got 8.5 hours of sleep last night. Not time in the rack, actual sleep. Which means that I will finally be able to fulfill my deepest desires for world domination, because I don't remember the last time I've been this rested. Which is good, because I have to drive to the shop, then 104 miles from the shop, unload a trailer full of stuff, install it, pack it back up, drive 104 miles back to the shop, drive about 20 miles north from there, load up another trailer full of grandma's stuff, and then drive a couple hundred miles from there up to Oklahoma today. Such is life. Which leads me to a point. If you want something, work for it. I want a homestead in Oklahoma. Now, yeah, God was good enough to provide it to me. But I almost feel like, after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, there's this modern tale of the man outside who says, Mr. Jefferson, what kind of government have you given us? And he says, a republic, if you can keep it. I have a homestead, if I can keep it. The implication is that there's work involved. And that's okay to me, right? It's time management. I just met with a brother yesterday, and I said, the biggest issue that I have right now is time management. I have very little time that's not accounted for. But there's a lesson there for y'all. I am just non-stop working. Whether it's down here in Texas to afford the Oklahoma property, or it's up in Oklahoma to get the Oklahoma property ready. Now, and we walked into a huge blessing that buildings were already built. Electricity and water are already in. Septic is in. So we're not even remotely off grid there. I mean, I got a satellite dish on the back of my house, right? Miss Harmony needs that for work so she can work remotely. But because all that stuff is in already, that's less work that I have to do to get the place ready. And it made it accessible to us as a family with 3 children and 1 elderly woman to be able to walk onto the property and push play. But there's, we have all that stuff, cool. What's the next step, right? Do the next right thing. What's the next step? Gardens, animals, right? A bridge, firewood, clearing, underbrush, all of that stuff that we've been doing. So, but it's a homestead if I can keep it. I have a job in Texas if I can keep it, right? Like all these different things compete for my attention. That's okay. I just need to be as brutally effective as possible. Does that make sense? And I would just encourage y'all to just be as brutally effective as possible. I told my boss one time, number one, the guy was born about a millennia too late. I feel like I would have been right at home with a very large axe on a battlefield. And I told my boss one time, I said, I need, I'm a pretty good tactician, I'm a pretty good strategist, but what I'm really good at is just going out there on the battlefield and swinging that axe as hard as I can until there's none of those guys left standing. That's kind of my one of my giftings, is just keep going, just keep swinging the axe until there's nobody left to oppose you, until there's nothing left to do. Then you rest and you recuperate, because tomorrow you're gonna have to swing the axe again. So this is not even at all what I intended to talk to y'all about, but it's what we are talking about. So I guess we'll talk about perseverance here and swinging that axe. And don't get mired in details, right? Paralysis by analysis, overthinking things. Not my style. I told the brother I met with yesterday, I'm a context guy, and I like to understand the context of the what, the why, the how, the who, the when. Like, that's very important to me as far as moving forward with things, because in order to triangulate, you need 3 points. You need to know where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going. Most people are missing one of those 3 or 2 of those 3 from the equation, and they get lost. They can't triangulate where they are because they don't know where they've come from, or they don't know where they are fixed firmly in time and space right now. They haven't been able to drop a thumbtack on the map and say, I am here, or they have no vision for where they are going. You need 3 points to triangulate, right? 3 points to navigate. So it's really important for me as a context guy to know where I'm coming from, where am I right now, the reality, not where I would like to be, the reality right now, where am I? And then where do I want to be in a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 20 years? What are those benchmarks and goals that I've set for myself? And then the P word, no, y'all have a dirty mind. Plan. How do I get from where I am to where I want to be? What is the plan there? Once you have that plan, start swinging that axe, man. Just keep swinging until it feels like your arms are gonna fall off and you can't lift your weapon anymore. Just keep going, and you're covered in blood and guts and gore, and life is just beating you down, and everything hurts, and you're just out of time and strength and energy and interest. Keep going, because that's when the cool stuff starts to happen. I would submit that's when God has really shown up in my life, and I feel like that's when he shows up in other people's lives as well. When he could come alongside of you and go, I see what you're doing, and I know you're trying your butt off. I got you. We're gonna make something happen. A lot of people too, I guess lastly, because we're on the bumpy road to the shop, a lot of people too think that they achieved their objective and that's the end. There are no ends, there's only new beginnings. That's just a moment to pause, breathe deeply, rest just for a hot minute, and now orient, figure out where you are in 4 dimensions, plan your next goal, and then go from there. If you look at retirement, what happens to a lot of people after retirement? They get fat and sick and then they die, because a lot of people lose their purpose for living after retirement. They don't have a clearly defined objective. They don't have a goal. Without a goal, they wander around lost in circles. And I wouldn't say that's the only reason people fall apart during retirement. A lot of it's wear and tear from swinging that axe every day. But I do think it's a part of it. People need a purpose. People need a goal. Your people, you need a purpose and a goal. Clearly defined. Write it down on paper if you have to. Many a time, immediately after I came to Oklahoma the first time, after my colon cancer and breaking up with my girlfriend and losing my job with the power construction company, I was sitting in a bedroom at my dad's house, lost. I was lost. And I got a stack of printer paper, 8.5 by 11 printer paper, and some pens. I just started writing down goals. What did I want out of life? And I just papered one wall of that bedroom. And those goals, once you have a goal, you can work backwards and formulate a plan to achieve that goal. That's what I did. Then a few months, I went from making a lot of money every year, a lot of money, to I used some of the money I had in the bank and I bought a chainsaw. I started cutting trees again. I used that tree money as well as some unemployment. It's the only time in my entire life I ever got a check that I didn't feel like I earned from the federal government. And it shamed me for a while. Honestly, it shamed me. I stacked up those unemployment checks. The only thing I bought was snuff. I mooched off my dad for the rest of it. I stacked up those unemployment checks and the money that I earned going out and cutting trees in southeastern Oklahoma. I was using one of my dad's trucks, which, again, shamed me, right? I felt like I'd been set back. And a short while later, I went and spent $10,000 on 2 used work trucks and a bunch of tools. And I called everybody I knew in the industry, in the power construction industry, and I said, give me your crap work. Whatever you don't want to do, give it to me. Within a year, I had 27 contracts. Within a year, I was the largest employer in that small town in southeastern Oklahoma. Largest employer in the town. I didn't want to be. I never intended to be. But in order for me to get from where I was to where I wanted to be, that had to happen. That was an unintended positive consequence of me trying to achieve my goals. Long story short, I had to do all that to build the people and the infrastructure that I needed for when I met Miss Harmony, that we could build Harmony Custom Designs. And then that set me up for where I am today, and so forth and so on, to this very moment right now talking with y'all. So you need to persevere. You need to have the mindset and the heart set and the skill set to get out there and swing that damn axe every day, even when it hurts, even when you want to cry, even when you're tired. Swing the axe. And I'll close with this. One of my favorite sayings is, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. That's a real thing. It's a very real thing. And there's no telling that what you're doing right now isn't training for the next step in your life, the next phase of your life, the next combat you're going to encounter in the next phase of your life. Because I look at all the different things I've done in my life thus far, and it's plainly apparent to me that I could not do what I do now if I didn't have the foundational knowledge that I gained from doing the things that I've done before this. I said in another video, plumb is plumb. Whether you're standing up posts for a pole barn, or setting 400-foot tall wind turbine towers, or framing a house, or hanging cabinets, or erecting steel structures, or whatever. Plumb is plumb. Plumb, square, and level applies to everything across the board. So if you know what plumb, square, and level is, and what that looks like, you can take that with you for the rest of your life, right? To your next phase of combat, your next evolution. So, there's your morning ear nugget, Perseverance. Again, this is not at all what I intended to talk about, but this is what came out. So, I love you guys. I pray that you have a wonderful and blessed day. I am going to be all over the great states of Texas and Oklahoma today, and I just pulled into the shop, so I got to go. I got to motivate some fools so we can get some work done today. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.